everybody, and welcome to another episode of Universe Mode, episode number 71, as we're live here in Orlando, Florida, for another episode of NXT, just a week after the television special NXT Week Heatwave. If you not see it, I recommend going to check it out. But if you're excited for this one, make sure you drop a like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more Universe Mode content. We hear Shawn Michaels has a big announcement scheduled for tonight. Before we get to his announcement, let's take a look at the matches we're going to see tonight. First off, we'll see in the women's division, Fallon Henley will take on Elektra Lopez. Then the former North American champion, Cameron Grimes, in his first match after losing the title, he'll take on A-Kid. And then Dante Chen will battle J.D. McDonough. Tag action, Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro will take on the tag champs Imperium. And then our main event, Cora Jade will take on the women's champion, Mandy Rose, in a non-title matchup. Fallon Henley is able to pick up the win over Lopez. Cameron Grimes gets back in the win column, as well as J.D. McDonough. They beat A-Kid and Dante Chen, respectively. But now it's time for tag action. Well, we found out last week at NXT Heatwave, in 2 weeks, we will have our next NXT pay-per-view. It'll be Clash of Champions, as we will unify all of the championships in NXT 2.0 and NXT UK. It is going to be a huge night. We'll talk more about that at the close of tonight's show. But talking about the champions, the NXT Tag Team Champions will be in action in just a moment's time as they take on these two, Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro, who are back here in NXT. Brief stint up on Monday Night Raw with Santos Escobar of Legado del Fantasma, but Escobar actually fired these two. So Wilde and Del Toro, left without a job, have made their way back to NXT. Legado del Fantasma is over, and these two individuals look to regain here in the tag division, but they have quite the task ahead of them tonight as they get ready to take on the champions, the most dominant group here in NXT. It is Imperium, as you can see them on the stage. NXT champion Gunther in the middle, and the NXT Tag Team Champions Ludwig Kaiser on the left, Giovanni Vinci on the right. They make up Imperium, who have been very dominant in NXT. You can see they hold all the gold. Gunther made a successful championship defense at NXT Heatwave, beat J.D. McDonough to retain the NXT Championship. Tag Champs, they weren't in action at the TV special, but they've had quite a solid reign for them as now they get ready for their next matchup, which will be against Gallus, the NXT UK Tag Team Champions at Clash of Champions, while Gunther will go one-on-one against Gallus' leader, Wolfgang, as we get to see Imperium and Gallus face off on that night. But can't overlook this matchup. You want to say it's a tune-up, but it could really be a trap matchup. As we'll see, Del Toro start off first for his team, as well as Kaiser for his. It is tag action, and NXT is live. Here we go. Hope you guys are ready for this one. Before we begin, though, if you are interested in buying some Rogue Energy, use my referral link down below, and you can use code Mr. Rob and get 10% off your Rogue Energy purchase. As right now, Kaiser with the early advantage for his team. We talked about Del Toro and Wilde back here in NXT. This is an opportunity for them to really showcase where they are at. They've been hanging around with Santos Escobar for basically their entire time in the WWE, but right now they are now on their own. This is a chance for them to make a name for themselves. No legado. Everybody's gone their separate ways. Escobar on Raw, Del Toro and Wilde here in the tag division. Elektra Lopez, saw her in singles action earlier tonight, but everybody is trying to make their own path. There's a nice springboard DDT by Giovanni Vinci. As Vinci now taking the upper hand in this contest. As the tag champs look pretty good. They have a date with Gallus in the future. You can't overlook these two. We're still trying to figure out, maybe after Gallus, who are the next best tag teams in the division. There is the Creed brothers in the wings. We now have Wilde and Del Toro down here as well. A lot of good tag teams here in NXT. So this is a real good chance to see where the competition stacks up as Wilde will enter the fray for the very first time. Continues to stomp away on Vinci, trying to ground one half of the tag champs, trying to gain some momentum for their team. As it goes for a springboard moonsault. Nice move there off the second rope. And a couple stomps for good measure. So look at the team of Wild and Del Toro. They're dominating right now, but Vinci back to his feet, blocked a right hand punch. Wild with a smart move is going to send him over the top rope, and you can see Del Toro trying to run a little bit of interference, and Wild power bomb to the outside. How about that? Flipping over the top rope down to the floor. That is a hard landing for a power bomb. And now Wild trying to decide what he wants to do next. Does he want to go after Giovanni Vinci on the outside, or does he have his eyes on Kaiser and Gunther? All three members of Imperium are at ringside, but he's wasting a lot of time because now Vinci's back to his feet, and Wild seems like he's going to go after Vinci, but Vinci able to block the right hand, shot to the midsection, and then whips him up against the steel stairs. Down goes Wild as Vinci has taken control. Ref up to a count of 6 as well. Now up to a count of 7. Wild starting to stir. Vinci's realized that he's just going to head to the outside. He's going to break the count. Went for another shot down low. Wild this time did block it. And then from behind plants some of the reverse DDT. Big fall there for Vinci. He's now going to get the upper hand, but Vinci catches the right boot, spins him around. Kick to the midsection by the tag champs. More combination strikes. Backs him up. And he's going to throw him again into the steel stairs. Ribs first into those steps. As Vinci doing a lot of damage here on the outside, right in front of the NXT Universe's ref. Now up to a count of 6 again. These two continue to do battle on the outside. Vinci again just throws Wild across the ringside area. Ref now up to a count of 8 here. He's got to be careful. Wild on the outside. Vinci is back in the ring. Count of 9. Wild doesn't seem like he's stirring on the outside. He finally is, but it's too late. Vinci is in the ring, and Imperium is able to pick up the victory by countout. Not the most fancy win, but with a big match in 2 weeks, I think Imperium had the game plan, just escape here with a win at all possible. It wasn't pretty, but Imperium did get the job done. Well, it's time for a little bit of a treat here for the fans, and NXT is making his way to the ring is none other than the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, who has an announcement to make. Michaels, a very big hand behind the scenes, very important and integral into the development here of NXT. It's kind of like a de facto GM, but Shawn Michaels, we hear a Clash of Champions. It is going to be champions versus champions. We're also going to get a special attraction match between NXT 2.0 and NXT UK. Each brand nominating one competitor from the brand. And Shawn Michaels has the announcement who will represent NXT 2.0. Well, you gotta be kidding me. It cannot be. Is it the Visionary? It is. Seth freaking Rollins is live here at the Performance Center on NXT. Oh, how long it's been since Seth Rollins has been on NXT. It was over 9 years ago that Seth wrestled his last match for the brand. He was the first ever NXT champion, and it seems like Shawn Michaels has picked Seth Rollins to represent NXT 2.0 at the Clash of Champions pay-per-view. And what better representative for Clash of Champions than the first ever champion? This is a huge moment for NXT. I never thought I'd see this moment. Rollins in a 2.0 ring, but he's here. Michaels announces Seth Rollins will compete at the pay-per-view. I cannot wait to find out who he will face on that night. But we know Seth Rollins, for the momentary, is back in NXT. Well, how about that shocker by Shawn Michaels? Seth Rollins will compete again for NXT. We'll find out later who his opponent will be. It'll be somebody from NXT UK. I don't care who it is. It's going to be exciting to see Seth Rollins. But it's now time for our main event. And making their way to the ring, it is one half of the new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Cora Jade, as you can see, accompanied by Roxanne Perez, her tag team partner. These two women were able to take the titles off Toxic Attraction a few weeks ago. They have been at war with the group and were able to take those titles. But tonight, Cora Jade gets another chance at the leader of Toxic Attraction, as it is Mandy Rose, the NXT Women's Champion, accompanied by JC Jane on the left, Gigi Dolan in the middle. They are Toxic Attraction, and they still have some gold. As last week at NXT Heatwave, Mandy Rose able to retain her championship over Indy Hartwell. Toxic Attraction was not at ringside, but Mandy Rose did get quite a bit of help on that night, as we'll talk more about that in just a moment's time. But Mandy Rose is in the ring, and we're getting ready for our main event. Women's action here at NXT 2.0 is non-title, but it's Cora Jade versus Mandy Rose, one-on-one, and we are ready for the bell, as these two women, no strangers to each other. Cora Jade on countless times has challenged Mandy Rose for that NXT Women's Championship, has been unable to win it, but at least Jade was able to capture her first title just a couple weeks ago, while Mandy Rose has been a dominant champion, to say the least. 10 months she has held that NXT Women's Champion, is up there on 300 days, up there with some of the best to hold the gold. Only a couple of names have held the NXT Women's Championship longer than Mandy Rose has, likes of Shayna Baszler, Asuka, just to name a few. But right now it is Cora Jade with the upper hand, and she's taking it to Mandy Rose. Nice bulldog there off of that turnbuckle. And just like we mentioned a second ago, Mandy Rose did defend the championship last week at NXT Heatwave. Had a little bit of help from none other than Duke Hudson. Yes, Duke Hudson made his way on the entryway, distracted Indy Hartwell. We know the history between those two, and it doesn't seem like Duke Hudson is ready to let the past be the past. Distracted Indy Hartwell and cost her an opportunity at the NXT Women's Champion. We'll hear more from Hartwell next week, or actually in 2 weeks' time, after Clash of Champions, as right now we're just gearing up for that pay-per-view. This will be the last NXT 2.0 episode before the pay-per-view. Next week we will head back over to NXT UK, the final show before Clash of Champions. It'll actually be the final ever NXT UK, so that'll be an episode you don't want to miss. It's going to be a big one. Championships will be on the line, as there's a little bit of a sneak peek. But right back to this match. Mandy Rose now with the upper hand, is pounding away on Cora Jade. Gets her back to her feet. Right hand strike trying to set up Jade. Whips her into the ropes, and Jade actually tumbles all the way down to the floor. Nasty landing there. This one will spill to the outside. Nobody outside has gotten involved in this match. You see Roxanne Perez. There's Gigi Dolan. Right on cue. Toxic Attraction trying to establish some presence. As you have to think, Dolan and Jane recently lost those Women's Tag Team Championships. They'd want to get those titles back. And speaking of the Women's Tag Team Champions, you can see Cora Jade getting over there. Hold on, come on now. JC Jane getting involved. Throws Jade back in the ring. Toxic Attraction getting their hands involved. Ref, they should be sent to the back, as Cora was just starting to get the upper hand. And now it's Mandy Rose who has the advantage. Gets Jade back to her feet, kick to the midsection, but Cora Jade does duck. Couples up with a couple of strikes of her own, and nice Hurricane Rana takedown by one half of the tag champs. Speaking of the tag champs, we know Mandy Rose, who she'll face at Clash of Champions. She'll take on Emiko Satomura, the NXT UK Women's Champion, the final boss. That'll be a heck of a matchup. Well, meanwhile, Jade and Perez, they will defend their championships on that night. We don't know yet who they will face, who they will defend the tag champs they get, but it will be a women's tag team from NXT UK. That's Jade now back to the match. Upper hand plants Rose from behind. Nice move there by Cora Jade. You know, she'd love to get a victory over Mandy Rose, and now from behind trying to lock in a little bit of a submission here, wrenching away on that jaw of Mandy from behind. Rose able to slip out the back door, get out of the hold. And now just telling everybody how great she is, talking a little bit of trash. That's what Mandy does. She will try to get underneath your skin. If you're Cora Jade, you can't allow that to happen. As Rose, nice snap suplex there. And again, telling everybody how great she is. But Jade is back to her feet. Don't think Rose realizes it. She does now. I think Jade went for a big underhook suplex there. Rose, nice agile move to slip out the back and then plants Cora from behind. Gives her a little bit of a taste of her own medicine. As now Mandy with firm control in this contest. Kicked in the midsection. Double underhooks into the face buster. Big time move there by Rose. That should be enough to win it. But instead she's going to get Jade up to her feet. And for good measure, connect with Kiss by the Rose. That big knee strike. Cora Jade could be knocked out cold. Rose into the cover, gets one, gets two, and that'll be all she wrote. Mandy Rose picks up a big win here tonight in our main event. Got a little bit of help from Toxic Attraction at ringside. Jade was starting to get some momentum. Unfortunately, JC Jane and Gigi Dolan just had to get involved in this contest and help out Mandy win. But a big win for Rose. Now she gets to look forward to Meiko Satomura at Clash of Champions in 2 weeks. As Toxic Attraction closes the show to celebrate. That's all we have time for you in this one. 2 weeks time, Clash of Champions. Every title will be unified. And with that being said, we already know 4 matches that'll be on the show, including NXT Champion Gunther will face NXT United Kingdom Champion Wolfgang. The leaders of their respective groups will go head to head. It'll be Imperium versus Gallus. And now, also we know this one from NXT Heatwave. The new North American Champion, Grayson Waller, will go one-on-one against Carmelo Hayes. That is if Hayes is still the European Champion at the time. He will defend the championship next week at NXT UK, but this is how it stands as of now. And then in the tag division, the Imperium Gallus matchups continue. It is Giovanni Vinci teaming up with Ludwig Kaiser to face Mark and Joe Coffey, the Coffey brothers. Which group is the more dominant duo and will hold all the tag team gold? And then we just talked about it, women's Mandy Rose, Meiko Satomura, 2 of the best females in NXT, will go head to head. Will be the leader of Toxic Attraction, or will the final boss reign supreme again? Then we just found out about this matchup. Seth Rollins, we're getting confirmation. He will face Tyler Bate, the first ever NXT champion, face off against the first ever United Kingdom champion. It is only fitting that we have this contest. That is going to be a classic. That is all happening in Clash of Champions. The next episode is Friday Night SmackDown. After helping Drew McIntyre last week win the 6-man tag, the Viking Raiders will face the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And a championship match you don't want to miss. Will the Usos' reign finally come to an end? We'll have to wait and see. But hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hope you guys are ready for all the action coming. Big pay-per-views on the horizon. Championship matches left and right. You don't want to miss all the action. Make sure you hit that like button and you subscribe down below so you don't miss any of it and you want more Universe Mode content. This is Mr. Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.